They vanished without a scream, without a fight, without even a single footprint in the dirt. 115 people, gone as if the island swallowed them whole. This is not just America's oldest mystery. This is a story of a colony that walked into the shadows and never returned. And tonight, you will follow their last steps. In 1587, a ship from England landed on the shores of Roanoke Island. Families stepped onto the sand with hope in their eyes and children in their arms. They dreamed of building a new world, fresh land, fresh air, and a future carved with their own hands. But from the moment they set foot on Roanoke, something felt wrong. The air was still, the nights were unsettled, and some settlers claimed they felt watched by eyes hidden deep within the trees. For several weeks, the colony worked in silence. Homes were built, water was gathered, crops were planted, but the forest around them seemed to whisper. Strange cries echoed at night, sounds no one could recognize. Even the native tribes in the region, who were no strangers to the land, avoided certain parts of the island after dusk. They warned the settlers that Roanoke was a place that remembered everything and forgot no one. Sometimes they heard footsteps behind them, but when they turned, nothing was there. John White, the governor of the colony, decided to sail back to England to gather supplies. He promised his family, his friends, and his people that he would return in a few months. But fate twisted at sea. England went to war with Spain. Ships were seized. Plans were delayed. And the settlers on Roanoke waited, not for weeks, but for 3 long, empty years. When White finally returned in 1590, he expected to hear laughter, smell smoke from cooking fires, and see children running along the beach. Instead, he walked into silence. The homes were gone, not destroyed, not burned, but carefully dismantled. The settlement looked as if it had been packed and moved with care. There were no bodies, no signs of violence, no tools left behind, not even footprints. Everything was missing. Then he saw it. A single word carved deep into a post, CROATOAN. And nearby on a tree, just 3 letters, CRO. But there was no cross carved beneath it, no distress call. Whoever left that message wasn't running. They had time. They planned their departure. But they never said why. White searched the island for signs of life. But the deeper he walked, the stranger the clues became. No animals, no personal objects, no clothing. It was as if the colonists erased their own presence before leaving, as if they did not want to be found. Historians have always believed they simply moved to the nearby CROATOAN Island, but the tribes there later insisted they never saw the settlers arrive. So the question became darker. If they didn't go to CROATOAN, where did they go? Some nights, sailors claimed they saw blue lights drifting above Roanoke, like lanterns floating through the sky. Reports from the era described unsettling events, strange lights above the trees, shadows moving where no shadows should be, and whispers, stories from native peoples, about a presence on the island that was older than any tribe. Some called it a spirit. Others said it was something that the land itself created, a force that could mimic voices and draw people into the forest. Archaeologists in the modern era searched Roanoke for decades, digging deep into its earth. They found fragments of pottery, pieces of tools, hints that the settlers may have survived for a while. But there were no graves, no remains, no signs of mass death. It was as though the colonists dissolved into the land. Yet something unexpected emerged. Tree ring analysis revealed Roanoke experienced the worst drought in 800 years during those exact years. Water dried up, food became scarce. Some settlers may have gone searching for help. But even hunger doesn't explain the organized disappearance. It doesn't explain the lack of debris. It doesn't explain the quiet. More confusing were the accounts from later explorers. They met tribes with unusual features, gray eyes, lighter hair, and tribes that used metal tools they could not have crafted. Some spoke bits of English. These clues hinted that at least a portion of the colony survived by joining native communities. But if that were the case, where was the rest? Why were there no large settlements bearing English influence? And why did many tribal elders refuse to speak about Roanoke at all? They said the trees sometimes whispered in a language no human could understand. A darker theory suggests the settlers built small boats and tried to sail back to England, only to vanish at sea. Storms, pirates, starvation, anything was possible. But this theory fails to explain the careful dismantling of the village, as if the colony believed its new destination would be safe, as if they believed they were following instructions. But who or what gave those instructions? Some historians believe the settlers followed guidance from a CROATOAN tribe, hoping to escape the drought. Others argue they were forced into the woods by hostile tribes. But there was never evidence of conflict, no weapons scattered, no burned homes, no mass graves. And then there's the final chilling possibility. The word CROATOAN has appeared in other disappearances over the centuries. A ship abandoned at sea, a lost expedition, even stories involving dying writers and explorers who whisper the word with their last breath. Is it just a coincidence? Or the pattern? By the end of the 20th century, most historians agreed on one thing. The settlers probably survived at least for a while. They likely divided into smaller groups and joined different tribes. Artifacts support this. Genetic hints support this. But it still leaves a piece missing. A piece so large that the mystery refuses to die. Why did the entire colony vanish together? Why did no one stay behind? Why did they leave nothing that explained their reasoning? There were stories of a voice in the woods, calling people by name. Modern excavations uncovered a few pieces of metal, a ring, a broken sword, but nothing pointing to death, nothing pointing to panic. Everything pointed to intention. The settlers left with a plan, one we still do not understand. Some tribes had legends of an entity on Roanoke Island, a spirit that copied human voices. A spirit that lured people deeper into the woods the longer they stayed. Some said it took the shape of loved ones. Others said it appeared as glowing orbs. Whatever it was, the tribes feared enough to avoid the island completely, and the settlers, hopeless, hungry, and alone, may have encountered it. On some nights, the forest glowed as if lit from within. Hundreds of theories exist. They starved. They sailed away. They joined tribes. They fell victim to disease. They were killed by outsiders. They were taken by something not human. But none of these theories answer the full truth. In reality, the disappearance of the Roanoke colony remains unsolved not because we lack clues, but because the clues contradict each other. Every artifact suggests survival. Every silence suggests fear. Every discovery reveals only half the story. Whatever happened on that island left no bodies and no answers, because sometimes the deepest mysteries are the ones the world isn't ready to explain.